Over the last 2 weeks, I felt like crap. And that's okay. Hey guys. My friend recently got engaged and I decided to go out to celebrate. And I normally don't really go out clubbing that much just because it's not really my vibe anymore. But I decided to go out to celebrate a milestone in my friend's life, and also made it a goal this year to spend more time with my friends. Well, because I had gone out and it was cold outside, I honestly wasn't dressed for the weather. I was not dressed for the weather at all, so I became sick with the flu. And then after I got better from the flu, the following week after that, Aunt Flo came to visit me. So it was just back-to-back weeks of me just feeling like crap. And because I was feeling like crap, I wasn't working out consistently like I normally do. I'll usually will work out on my Peloton bike 3 times a week, and I'll also do some type of like yoga once a week, because working out just, you know, makes me feel good. It gets my body moving and I just feel happier. I'm normally good at staying productive and just being on my A game, and I would have every minute of my day planned out from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed. But because I got sick, I wasn't eating like at all. Like I was eating 1 meal a day, maybe some fruit, you know, a tiny little meal, and that was it. Like I was not eating, and I lost a lot of weight. I had no energy to cook. My house was a mess, and I basically just sat in bed all day long for 2 weeks not doing anything. And I sat there in my bed one day and I was just trying to figure out like what to post for my next YouTube video, and I was sitting there and I couldn't think about what I wanted to talk about. So then I decided to go to my office and I sat down at my computer. You know, I placed my hand on my keyboard and, you know, just kind of like telepathically like wishing for my hands to start typing. And I was thinking that my mind would just automatically start writing up a script on what to talk about. But it's like my brain stopped working. I couldn't think of anything to talk about. It's like there were words in my mind, but those words weren't coming together. I literally thought I was having a stroke because my brain wasn't braining. So I got so mad at myself and I started beating myself up for it. And I was like, dang, Devin, like you're a personal development YouTuber. You're supposed to be working out, making your matcha lattes, going to Pilates class, you know, living your best Pinterest lifestyle, and you're doing it really poorly. So I went back to my bed and I just sat there laying down and just crying, beating myself up because I just felt like a failure. I felt like I was failing my subscribers who looked up to me and were waiting for me to post, but I just had no motivation to do anything, to say anything, to read anything, to do anything. And I knew I didn't want to be in this place. I wanted to get out of this depressive episode, but I didn't know what or how to. So I decided to pull out my journal and I just started writing about how I was feeling. And the thing about journaling is you're able to be vulnerable with yourself when you journal. You're able to be honest about what's really going on because there is nobody there to judge you. You know, there's nobody there saying, ha, I knew you were just faking it. I knew you were just going through life faking it. So I was able to be real with myself and I was able to write down all of my feelings in my journal. And I realized that I put so much pressure on myself to perform, to be this perfect Pinterest girl that you see all the time on social media. The girl who, you know, goes to get her nails done regularly. She gets her eyebrows done. She gets her eyelash extensions. She makes sure that her hair is blown out and straightened. And I sat back and I asked myself, who am I doing this for? Who am I performing for? Am I doing this for myself, or because this is what social media says this is what you should be doing in order to show that you have your life together? To show that you are actually doing something with your life, to show that you are that girl or that woman. And I sat there and I was like, you know what? I'm allowed to be unproductive. I'm allowed to have a day or a week or even a month where I don't do anything, where I just sit in bed and rot and not worry about all the daily tasks that I planned. Instead of me trying to fight my body and trying to move it in ways that it doesn't want to go, I need to sit back and listen to it. If my body feels like not getting out of the bed and cleaning and cooking, That's my body communicating to me that I need rest. If I am in a rut, why am I feeling guilty because I'm in a rut? Why do I feel guilty for giving myself what my body needs, what my body wants, which is rest? Basically, if you've ever felt this way, if you've ever felt guilty for falling off your game, for not achieving, not producing, not working hard enough, not doing what all of us social media influencers tell you to do, this is called productivity guilt. And it's something that I struggled with a lot in my life, a lot more than I would like to admit. And it's because my self-worth was being measured on the number of tasks I was able to complete in one day. If I don't get all the things done that I told myself I would get done, I would feel guilty, and you could thank society for that. This capitalist society that we live in says if you're not producing, if you aren't doing your task, if you're not working hard enough, if you're not getting your work done, then you have no place in the society and you're just wasting your life. And I hate that I have to feel this way. I hate that you have to feel this way. So if you relate to this, here are some tips to just help you get through this. Number 1, surrender. Allow yourself to be. You are human at the end of the day, not a machine that society can just use whenever they want. Allow yourself to just sit in bed, watch Netflix, eat junk food, and do it without thinking about all the tasks that need to get done, and just be there. Release this need to control and expectations that you have put on yourself or that society has put on you. Just let yourself rest, let yourself be. We actually need more sleep than you really think. We are often told that you need about 6 to 8 hours of sleep, and that is true for men, but for women, we actually need 10 hours of sleep a day. And when you are on your period, you actually need more sleep. So a lot of us are actually getting a lot less sleep than we actually need, which is why we feel tired all the time. So if there happens to be a day where you sleep past your alarm clock or you're taking more and more naps than you normally do not feel guilty because you slept longer, because it's your body's way of saying, I need rest. Your body is literally telling you, I need to sit down and relax and not do anything or think about anything. So stop trying to spend your life trying to control yourself and just get better at trusting yourself, trusting your body, allowing yourself to just surrender to whatever it needs. Surrender yourself from what you think should have happened, and forgive yourself for not doing what you told yourself that you were going to do. And understand that you cannot show up as the same person every single day. You are not failing because you were unmotivated. You were just learning how to navigate life without a lot of guidance and reassurance. And you are doing the best you can, so just surrender the expectations that you or society has for yourself. Next is self-care looks different for everyone. Self-care looks different for everybody. Like, I saw this girl who had a self-care day on YouTube for when she's on her period, and I sat there watching the video and I was like, dang, like her self-care rut day looks a lot like my regular productivity day. Like, she woke up at 8 a.m., went to go do yoga, started working on her YouTube video, and did her makeup. And for me, my rut self-care day looks a lot like me sitting in bed, not showering. I barely brush my teeth. I eat junk food all day. Doing my makeup and moving my body is the last thing I want to do. But at the end of the day of me just rotting in bed, I feel good because I allow myself to rest. If I did everything this other girl did, I would not feel rested because that type of self-care day is not authentic to me. So if I'm forcing myself to do a self-care day that is not authentic to me, what's the point of having a self-care day if I am stressing myself out even more in order to try to fit into this mold, into this aesthetic that everyone, has online? So you're going to see a lot of different women on social media who have a different idea of what self-care looks like. So you have to ask yourself, what does self-care look like to me? And what is going to make me feel better at the end of the day? What can I do today that is going to make me feel as best as possible, like the best me? Sometimes when you feel guilty, it's because you're comparing yourself to what others are doing, but that might not be the same for you. Two humans are completely different from each other, and comparing them is like insulting nature. A flower does not think of competing with the flowers next to it. It just blooms. So do not feel like self-care needs to look a certain way or needs to fit into a certain aesthetic. You get to decide what self-care feels and looks like. Next is slow down. Sometimes I just need to slow down. Whenever I set my mind to something, I feel like I need to get it done right then and there, and it needs to be perfect, and I need to do it as fast as possible. And unfortunately, it's because of my upbringing where if things needed to be done as quickly as possible, I would get really, really stressed out. Like, you know, things need to get done as soon as possible and as quickly as possible. And I unfortunately found myself putting that toxic mindset onto my husband, where if he didn't do a task as quickly as I did, then I would get upset at him. But then I have to realize that not everything needs to be done as quickly as possible. Not everything needs to be rushed to get done. So don't focus so much on all the tasks that need to be completed. Like, my office was a complete mess the other day, and I needed to go to the laundromat to clean my guinea pig's fleece blanket, and I also needed to go grocery shopping and do laundry. All of these different tasks, and instead of me working on the said task, I sat there stressed out about all the tasks that needed to be done. So now not only am I stressed out about all the tasks that I need to do, I am stressed out that I'm stressed out. ended up not getting anything done. I mean, even if it takes you 10 minutes to do the dishes, or it takes you 2 hours to do the dishes, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you took the first step, that you began. If your house is a mess, you know, if you need to do your laundry, just put the clothes in the washer. You don't even have to turn the machine on. Just put it in the washer and just start. I mean, it's a slow process, but quitting is not going to make it speed up. It doesn't matter, because what matters is that you start the task. If anything, when you rush to get something done, it takes the joy out of just doing the task, because you are just looking for the end result. But if we spend our entire life trying to rush to get things done and not enjoying what life has to offer, life just starts to pass you by, and we start to only become fulfilled by the completed task. But what happens when that task is not complete? Then we ourselves feel incomplete. So our purpose and joy becomes contingent on that task. It's okay if something takes a long time to complete. And slowing down in a world that wants to speed up takes a lot of courage. You know, it's like we all have this fear of being left behind by our peers, but when you slow down, you are listening to yourself. You start to see how much more life has to offer. Learning how to be present in the now versus being consumed with where you need to be or where you should go is called growth. Learn to try to find magic in peace and in the quiet moments, even when things don't feel good. Next is, you do not owe anybody anything. I went completely silent on my friends and family over the last 2 weeks. My friends were texting me, and I would just look at the text message and just completely ignore it, because I just didn't have the energy to even respond. And I felt like a bad person, like I was a bad friend, because it's like, dang, like, you know, am I that person that only texts people when it's convenient for me or when I want something? But then I realized that that mindset comes from me thinking that my time belongs to other people. Because growing up, people always thought that they had access to me whenever they wanted. Whenever somebody wanted something from me, I had to be there. I had to be their shoulder to cry on. I had to be their daughter, their friend, their sister, even when I didn't have the emotional capacity to be there. And if I wasn't there, I was told, oh, you know, you're always busy, you never have time for me, you don't even like me enough to respond to my text messages. And it would make me feel guilty for not doing it. Like, I had a friend who called me at 3 a.m. in the morning to talk to me about her boyfriend and relationship problems. And I had told her that I would, you know, talk to her later because, you know, it was really late and I had to get rest and I had to be up for work in the morning. And she got really upset with me because I didn't want to talk. So we are no longer friends because she would not respect that boundary. Like, my energy and my time does not belong to other people. You do not owe anybody your time or your energy or even your love. And you damn sure don't owe anyone an explanation of why you decided not to text them back. If you want to have a day or a week where you don't talk to anyone, that is your right to yourself. That is you putting yourself first and saying, I do not have the mental energy to communicate with anyone right now, so I am choosing not to talk to my friends and family, and I am putting myself first. You do not owe anyone anything in this life. Next is, find something worth living for. A lot of us think like, oh, I just have no energy, I have no energy. Well, it's because you might not have anything worth living for. There's nothing worth getting up out of bed for. Maybe you don't need more energy. Maybe you just need to find something that makes you want to get up in the morning. Find something in your life that gives more than it takes. Find something that when you wake up in the morning, you have this overwhelming feeling of happiness and joy. You know that feeling, when you're about to go on vacation and you get up and you have a flight in the morning. You know that feeling, that exciting feeling, that feeling of just joy and happiness and something to look forward to. That's how you should be waking up every single day. Find joy in the little things in life that might not be so glamorous. For example, for me, I like to just sit in my office with a cup of tea and a book. I don't have the overhead lights on because sometimes the overhead lights make me feel really drained. So I'll just turn a lamp on instead, and it creates a really nice warm ambience in the room. That's me romanticizing my life. That's me finding joy in the little things, just a book and a cup of tea. You have to create romance in your life. We often sit around trying to chase a certain lifestyle that will not come unless you create it. Create it right now instead of waiting for something to happen. You have to create romance in your life. You have to create that joy, that happiness. And if you're not feeling happy, if you're unable to create that romance in your life, that just means you're on the wrong path. That means that the path that you were on was not meant for you, and you won't get far on a path that was never meant for you to begin with. Next is stop consuming content that makes you feel worse. I had to unfollow a few people off my social media, specifically influencers who are big on productivity. It's like everything they post is about being productive and positivity. So I would sit and watch these influencers who are doing so well in life, and instead of me feeling inspired by it, it made me feel worse about myself, because while they are waking up at 5 a.m., drinking their matcha lattes, going to Pilates class, I am sitting there in my bed not doing anything. So I started to compare myself to them. And they were a constant reminder of what I was not able to do at that moment in time. And sometimes when we hear, oh, just be positive, live life to the fullest, go out and live, I am just laying there like, I don't want to be positive. How can I be positive when I feel so bad right now? Like, help me, show me how. But then I sit back and I remind myself, Devin, stop worrying so much about feeling better and just get better at feeling. A lot of us just need to just get better at feeling our emotions and just sitting in that negative emotion, so that way we can get a better understanding of ourselves. If you spend maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes just by yourself in silence, just journaling, there will be a little voice inside of your mind telling you everything you need to know and the answers to your struggles. But you just have to sit there and listen to it. Like, it's your intuition trying to communicate to you, and oftentimes your intuition is always right. If you're ever just feeling in a rut and that you just don't want to get anything done, it's okay. It's okay. I know, a lot of us influencers kind of like to talk about being productive and waking up early and having a schedule and just being on your A game and being that girl. But understand that a lot of us go through ruts too. A lot of us have our days where we just don't want to do anything and we just want to sit in bed. And this is just me giving you permission to be unproductive. It's okay. But yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about today, Diamond Girls. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your day that's filled with love.